handsome and attractive youth with black hair and black eyes asked, "Dear Prefecture Masters, between the two of them, who do you think will win?" He was the Dark Hell Demonic Kingdom's eldest prince, and was also a divine netherworld phoenix with the purest bloodline. His combat strength was in no way inferior to the many Prefecture Masters present. Prefecture Master Cato and Prefecture Master Cato were evenly matched. If that man had really defeated Cato by his own strength, then he would undoubtedly emerge victoriously, replied one of the Prefecture Masters without hesitation. That is certainly so. The other Prefecture Masters nodded in agreement. Everyone knew that Cato and Cato were brothers who were evenly matched. Since Meng Lei could defeat Cato, then he would be able to defeat Cato for sure. There was no doubt about that. However, the same Prefecture Master suddenly changed the course of the conversation at this point. Suspicion filled its speech as it said, "That new Ice Demon Prefecture Master appears extremely unfamiliar to the eye. If memory serves me right, it seems like an expert like him has never existed in the Dark Hell Demonic Kingdom, or even the Dark Hell continent, before." "Prefecture Master Cyril, you mean?" The astonished eldest prince cocked an eyebrow and prompted it to go on. No matter what, Prefecture Master Cato was undoubtedly still an old-timer mid-level great demon god. Up-and-coming rising stars are no match for it. A smiling Cyril said, "Perhaps Prefecture Master Cato was right, and that fellow had indeed used some kind of dishonest method to defeat Prefecture Master Cato. That makes sense. That kid looks awfully unfamiliar to the eye. He's likely a young one that's only just emerged during these recent few years. How could a mere junior have been Prefecture Master Cato's match? There are only a few experts in the whole of Dark Hell continent who could kill Prefecture Master Cato, and it definitely doesn't include that fellow who came out of God knows where. Going by what everyone is saying, that newly appointed Ice Demon Prefecture Master won't be Prefecture Master Cato's match. Then?" asked the eldest prince with his eyebrows raised. "That's most likely the case. It's more likely than not that he was able to kill Prefecture Master Cato because he had used some kind of dishonest means. Yes, that must be it." Meng Lei and Cato's battle had already begun while the Prefecture Masters were still engaged in speculation. Fury burst forth from Cato as it roared deeply. "You despicable young one who knows no shame. I will avenge Big Brother Cato and make you pay a heavy price for your despicable actions." A flash of fire shot by immediately after it spoke, and then Cato was already right in front of Meng Lei. A fearsome punch then followed right after. "Die, you bastard!" The punch broke a hole into the dimension right away, and its fist went smashing toward Meng Lei's skull alongside the hole. Evidently, it intended to blast Meng Lei's head apart with its fist. Can he deflect the attack? All the Prefecture Masters, princes, princesses, royalty, and officials' gazes shifted to Meng Lei in this instant. All of them wanted to know whether or not he could deflect the attack. "Thinking of killing me with just this bit of strength? You think too highly of yourself." Meng Lei shook his head lightly. Then he reached out his right arm and made a light grabbing motion. A loud bam rang out, and Meng Lei immediately caught Cato's earth-shattering punch in his palm. "What?" This greatly shocked Cato, as well as the other Prefecture Masters, princes, princesses, and everyone else who was watching the battle. All of them were utterly astounded. He managed to parry Prefecture Master Cato's attack so casually? "It's my turn to attack now." Meng Lei disappeared in a flash and appeared behind Cato like a phantom. Then, he bent his fingers and flicked them lightly against the back of Cato's head. Crack! As though a bullet was piercing through a watermelon, yet also like a steel bead passing through an egg. A crisp crack rang out, and a bloody hole immediately formed in between Cato's brows. Cato froze at once, its eyes widening to a size larger than even discs as a look of disbelief came over its features. How could this? Before it could even finish speaking, the light in its eyes was already beginning to gradually dim. Then, it plummeted straight down toward the ground. Meng Lei easily froze Cato's body in midair with a wave. Then, in front of the many Prefecture Masters, princes, princesses, royalty, and officials, he gouged out Cato's demonic core and killed its divine spirit. A system notification rang out. Ding! One fire great demon god killed. 60 million divinity crystals gained. Not bad. A satisfied smile appeared on Meng Lei's lips. Then, he slipped off Cato's spatial ring and began to inspect the contents. The smile on his face widened the moment he did, and he remarked, "Tis-K, as expected of a prefecture master. Even the treasures it brings about on its body are of such a generous standard. System. Collect all the items that you can collect." A brief moment later, his wealth had spiked by 40 million divinity crystals. Added to this the other 60 million divinity crystals that he had just gained, they just so happened to make up a total of 100 million divinity crystals. In the twinkling of an eye, he had already made back the 100 million divinity crystals that he just spent to boost his metal origin divine body's assimilation rate. Sweet. Meng Lei only tossed Cato's dead body to the little golden tree after he was done with all these. Then, he turned to the other prefecture masters, princes, princesses, royalty, and officials, only to discover that every one of them was in a state of astoundment, and all of them were staring at him as if they were staring at a freak. The place was filled with dead silence. Evidently, everyone had received a shock. Dodola chuckled and poked fun at Meng Lei as it said, "You've scared them all, Meng Lei. What can I say? It's all because I'm too strong." Meng Lei returned Dodola a smile and flew toward the others. "He's coming over." A furor went through the demons. A smiling Meng Lei asked, "Dear all, I'm sure no one doubts my combat strength anymore, right?" The prefecture masters were rather embarrassed, especially Prefecture Master Cyril, who had passed judgment on Meng Lei without any restraint earlier. It wished even more than the others that it could bury itself into a hole somewhere. Up-and-coming rising star? Dishonest means? What nonsense! How many prefecture masters among those present could even instantly kill Cato in a flick of their fingers? Given his frightening combat strength, would he even need to resort to dishonest means? I didn't expect the newly appointed Ice Demon Prefecture Master to possess such strength. One can say that this is a blessing for the demonic kingdom. I believe Father will be extremely pleased to know of this. A bright and hearty smile appeared on the eldest prince's countenance, and he said, "Dear all, Father will summon us for an audience soon. Let's return to the conference hall for now." "Yes, Your Highness." Everyone returned to the same palace as just now. Meng Lei had originally planned on just taking any random seat, but unexpectedly, the eldest prince instead arranged for him to take the seat of honor at the front. The other prefecture masters didn't say much about it. Evidently, they had all acknowledged Meng Lei's strength. The strong was revered in the world of demons. Since Meng Lei was stronger than them, his status would also be more venerable than theirs. The demonic emperor of Dark Hell Demonic Kingdom showed up shortly after they took their seats. The prefecture masters present felt immense pressure the moment it took its seat. "Greetings, Your Majesty. You may dispense with the formalities, my beloved subjects." The demonic emperor gestured to everyone to take their seats. His gaze swept across everyone before it quickly landed on Meng Lei, who was seated in the seat of honor below. He couldn't help but be slightly surprised. At the sight, the eldest prince quickly leaned over and whispered softly in his ear. The moment he did, a light burst forth in the demonic emperor's eyes, and he declared unhurriedly, "To be able to instantly kill Prefecture Master Cato with just a flick of his fingers shows that the newly appointed Ice Demon Prefecture Master boasts pretty impressive strength. This is the Dark Hell Demonic Kingdom's good fortune." "You flatter me, Your Majesty." Meng Lei nodded lightly. Hearing such great news just as the dark canopy of the heavens is imminent foretells great rewards for the Dark Hell Demonic Kingdom during the dark canopy of the heavens this time. It seemed like the demonic emperor was indeed very pleased. He turned to Meng Lei and said, "Ice Demon Prefecture Master, I'm counting on you and all the other prefecture masters for this round of dark canopy of the heavens. You're too kind, Your Majesty. I'll definitely do my very best." Meng Lei adopted a fairly humble stance. "Dear all." After giving everyone another pep talk, the demonic emperor then led everyone to the dark canopy of the heavens. None of the three most powerful experts, such as the demonic emperor, entered the dark canopy of the heavens every time it opened. The reason behind this was obvious. They were worried that someone would take Dark Hell Continent's heart of the existential plane for themselves and refine it. Though they themselves didn't go in, the three emperors nevertheless didn't hold back at all when it came to the treasures brought out by those who had gone in. In other words, the three emperors had priority in taking anything that the others brought out, no matter what it was. If the others refused to hand it over, then they could just go to hell. No one would bother reasoning with anyone here. The group made their way to the dark canopy of the heavens 3 days later. The dark canopy of the heavens had yet to open at the moment. Thus, what appeared in their sight was instead a steep 1,000 feet tall cliff. There were innumerable amazing sights and sceneries of cliffs to be found in Dark Hell Continent, so a 1,000 feet tall cliff was actually nothing impressive. However, the cliff currently standing before them was no ordinary cliff because it was where the dark canopy of the heavens would be opening. For countless years, a great number of powerful demons had visited the area on account of its reputation in hopes that they could catch a glimpse of the amazing dark canopy of the heavens. Thus, all the more demons would gather on the day that the dark canopy of the heavens would open every time. True enough, the place was packed full of and teeming with demons as far as the eye could see. They came from every part of Dark Hell Continent, and they were all here in hopes of witnessing the upcoming battles. What the heck? There are so many demons here. Dodola let out exclamation after exclamation. And none of them are weaklings. Even the weakest among them is a demon god. The dark canopy of the heavens, which opens once every 30,000 years, is a grand affair that sweeps through the whole Dark Hell Continent. It attracts innumerable experts. Menglei smiled and went on. Naturally, they aren't eligible to fight for a slot, so their only purpose in coming is just to watch the battles among the three great empires as they contest for slots to enter. All the experts of Dark Hell Continent must already have congregated here, right? TSK. That's a lot of ordinary and mid-level great demon gods. What shocking numbers! Dodola clicked its tongue as it marveled. As expected, Dark Hell Continent indeed has an extremely strong and profound cultural heritage. Out of all the mid-end existential planes I've seen, they definitely rank among the top few. An extremely large part of this is due to the Boundless plane. Menglei smiled and said, even though the Boundless plane is an extremely dangerous place, and a greater half of the 36 experts that enter each time usually perish within, they bring out an extremely generous number of artifacts every time. After so many years of accumulation, they have significantly improved Dark Hell Continent's combat strength standards. While the two of them were chatting away idly, everyone had already arrived in front of the cliff. A person in charge from the Dark Hell Demonic Kingdom had already hastily come forward to receive them a long time ago. Greetings, Your Majesty. You may rise. The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor waved lightly and asked dispassionately, are people from the other two countries here yet? People from the Fallen Empire and the Three-Headed Hell Kingdom have yet to arrive, Your Majesty. The person in charge bowed and answered. However, it was at this moment that several exclamations suddenly rang out around them. They're here. People from the other two empires have also arrived. The show's finally starting. How exciting! Menglei turned and looked over. True enough, two groups of people were traveling toward them at high speed from afar. In no time, they arrived in the sky above the cliff. Isaiah, you've surprisingly reached first. So what even if he arrived first? What ultimately counts is still combat prowess. Menglei followed the source of the voices and looked over at the two people in the lead. One was a sexy and sensual beautiful woman with a head of red hair, while the other was a cold and austere fallen angel with 8 wings on his back. They were none other than the other two most powerful experts of the continent, Euphemia Foster, the Empress of the Three-Headed Hell Kingdom, and Alec Houdini, the Emperor of the Fallen Empire. You're both here. Chapter 342. A chaotic melee breaks out. At least you know what's good for you. The rules were very simple. To sum it up, it was a melee. Of course, while they could theoretically send an unlimited number of experts, only a few truly qualified to take part in the melee. Weaklings would just be throwing their lives away if they entered the battle. A melee? TSK. As expected of the demons. Even their process of filtering people for entrance slots is done in such a simple and crude way. Dodola couldn't help but marvel after hearing the competition rules. The demon world is exactly a simple one like that. Menglei smiled and said, "The strong ones will last till the end, while the weak ones take the initiative to withdraw or lose their lives midway. This will continue until only 36 candidates remain." After a moment's thought, Dodola said, "All of you are mid-level great demon gods, so the difference in strength among everyone isn't very great. As long as you keep your guard up, you'll be able to get out of there safely, even in the worst of scenarios. The likelihood that someone will kill you isn't high." "That's true." Menglei nodded and said, "Only 3 unlucky fellows died during the last melee." "Only 3? As expected, indeed." Dodola shook its head. Then, its eyes suddenly swiveled, and it wondered aloud, "I wonder how many will die this time? If it's possible, I hope they all die." Menglei licked his lips, the burning heat in his eyes barely concealed. A mid-level great demon god was worth 60 million divinity crystals, so that meant 10 of them would be worth 600 million divinity crystals. 100 of them would be worth 6 billion divinity crystals, and 300 of them would be worth 18 billion divinity crystals. It seemed like the amount of rewards he would get would be enough for him to ascend to great perfection level if he could kill all those mid-level great demon gods. Menglei was so excited that he couldn't quite suppress the overwhelming power inside his body anymore. He was ready to run wild. "Everyone, I'm leaving everything in your hands." The dark hell demonic emperor's gaze swept across Menglei and the other 107 prefecture masters as he gave them one last bout of encouragement. He said, "The Boundless Plane is the place that the Boundless King had used as his base before he became a chief god. The Boundless King had managed the place for countless years, and an infinite number of treasures is contained within, among which there is no lack of supreme treasures such as Demon Grandmaster-level demonic weapons and Demon Grandmaster remains. Whether or not you can go in there and bring those treasures out will depend on yourselves." All the prefecture masters' eyes burned with passion at the mention of Demon Grandmaster-level demonic weapons and remains, their inner desires barely concealable. If they could obtain those treasures and successfully refine them in the Boundless Plane, their strength would undergo a tremendous change. When that happened, perhaps they would be strong enough to contend against the 3 rulers upon their return to Dark Hell Continent. The prefecture masters hastily promised, "Don't worry, Your Majesty. We'll definitely do our very best." "Great!" Highly satisfied with their responses, an unusual glint flashed across the demonic emperor's eyes, and he said, "Go on your way." "Yes, Your Majesty." All 108 prefecture masters then took flight into the sky. At the same time, the many experts from the Fallen Empire and the 3-headed Hell Kingdom also rose into the air. Upon reaching the skies, all 3 parties got into a triangular formation and stayed there. All set for a showdown, they gazed at one another. "It's starting. The battle's right about to start." All the demons here to watch the battle got into a state of excitement. Their eyes brimmed with anticipation and shone brightly. "The melee's about to begin." Euphemia, the sensual 3-headed Hell Kingdom Empress, asked with a bright smile, "Which country do you think will be the one with the highest number of candidates remaining this time?" The Fallen Empire's emperor replied aloofly, "It's still unclear at the moment which country will have the highest number of candidates remaining, but the one with the fewest remaining is undoubtedly the Dark Hell Demonic Kingdom. There's no doubt about that." "Hee, don't say that out loud. Isaiah won't be happy to hear that." Euphemia held her hand over her sexy ruby-red lips as she giggled. Had he been mocked like that in the past, the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor would already have dissed them back a long time ago. This time, however, not only did he not get mad, but he even gave them a somewhat profound smile and said, "There's no point in saying that much. We'll just wait and see." Both Euphemia and Alec were slightly taken aback at the sight of the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's expression. What was the matter with Isaiah? Why was he behaving somewhat differently from before? Boom! The battle in the sky had broken out. Attack! Kill! The Boundless Plane is ours. People from all 3 factions clashed with a great boom, and a shocking grand melee thus began. Boom! 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 It took only a mere instant for the sky above to break and form into a black hole. The whole place within millions of kilometers of where they were was completely filled with havoc-wreaking rushes of energy waves and space-time fluxes. The scene was as though doomsday had come. The hearts of the demons watching the battle pounded with fear and trepidation. Some even developed the urge to make a run for it. They were really afraid that they might become collateral damage if they stayed there any longer. There were a total of over 300 mid-level great demon gods from all three factions. Every one of them was brimming with bloodlust. They attacked anyone who dared so much as to go near them without any questions. True enough, Meng Lei was besieged by a thunder great demon god and a wind great demon god the moment the melee started. The former was bathed in lightning while the latter rode the winds, and they lunged toward him with fierce momentum. "You're new, aren't you, kid? Kakik! Offer up your life." The two demons knew right away that Meng Lei was a newbie the moment they took a look at him. Immense bloodlust welled up within them, and they charged toward him at once. "Have I been taken as an easy target?" Meng Lei rubbed his nose lightly. "Kiki, newbies will be newbies. He's already scared witless. Now die!" A lightning whip appeared in the thunder great demon god's hand and lashed right at Meng Lei. Unlike ordinary electricity currents, the lightning whip was formed from black lightning of destruction instead. Black lightning of destruction was a special ability exclusive to thunder demons. On top of that, it was a skill that boasted extremely fearsome might, and only thunder demons that had cultivated to the point of great demon god stage could awaken the ability. The thunder great demon god had absolute confidence that the lashing from the whip could maim, if not kill, most mediocre mid-level great demon gods, so how would a newbie possibly be able to withstand it? However, what happened next was completely out of their expectations. Despite being up against a destructive lightning whip capable of destroying all in the world, Meng Lei easily caught the lightning whip in his hand in one grab. "Ha!" The thunder great demon god's jaw dropped, unable to believe what it was seeing. He had actually caught it so easily? "Come over here." Meng Lei took the opportunity while it was still staring blankly to tug at the lightning whip, easily pulling the thunder great demon god over to him. D. Meng Lei bent his fingers and flicked them, his finger tapping the thunder great demon god in between its brows. Ugh! A soft sound rang out. A stream of blood spurted from the back of the thunder great demon god's head, and then a bloody hole as wide as a fingertip appeared at the back of its head. The thunder great demon god stiffened at once. The light in its eyes gradually dimmed until, at last, it died completely. Meng Lei gouged out its demonic core and tossed its dead body into the Tower of Time. Then, he turned to the wind great demon god, who was so frightened that it just stood on the spot. "It has already died. You can go on your way now, too." Meng Lei teleported right in front of the wind great demon god. A golden dagger appeared in his hand and slashed lightly across the wind great demon god's throat. Ugh! Streams of blood spurted from the wound as a huge head rushed into the sky. Meng Lei then sent the flying head and body into the Tower of Time with a casual wave. Who's he? With a few hundred great demon gods fighting it out, the battleground was naturally an incredibly chaotic one. While Meng Lei killing two great demon gods in a row had gone unnoticed by the other great demon gods in the battle, some of the spectators had noticed it. What the heck? That guy's so savage. He's killed two mid-level great demon gods just like that. Who exactly is he? Isn't he too powerful? Isaiah, if memory serves me right, he should be one of your men? Euphemia, the three-headed Hell Empress, had lost her calm composure, and her expression had turned rather awful-looking. The Thunder Great Demon God and the Wind Great Demon God that Meng Lei had just killed were from the three-headed Hell Kingdom. Not bad. Highly satisfied with Meng Lei's combat power, a slight smile appeared on the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's countenance. He said, "He's from the Ice Demon Prefecture, and is the newly appointed Ice Demon Prefecture Master of Dark Hell Demonic Kingdom." "The Ice Demon Prefecture Master?" Euphemia said gravely. "Little did I think that a fellow like that had actually emerged under your command. I've underestimated the Dark Hell Demonic Kingdom." "Underestimate? We haven't even gone that far yet." The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor shook his head and chuckled softly. He said, "Just watch on. My Ice Demon Prefecture Master will definitely give you guys a great surprise. Humph. Euphemia couldn't be bothered to pay any more attention to the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor. Instead, she shifted her gaze to Meng Lei, who was in the sky. Alec, the fallen emperor, was also paying close attention to Meng Lei. For him to be able to instantly kill a mid-level great demon god, such combat strength was practically too fearsome. Even if he wasn't a high-level great demon god yet, he wouldn't be that far off either. 120 million divinity crystals into the pocket. Sweet. Earning 120 million divinity crystals so easily had totally ignited the greed dwelling within Meng Lei's heart. In his eyes, the great demon gods currently battling it out were no longer great demon gods but heaps of gold and silver awaiting his harvest. As the saying went, if one doesn't take what the heavens bestow upon them, misfortune brought about by it would instead befall them. If he left that many divinity crystals as they were instead of collecting them, even the heavens wouldn't be able to stand it. Kaka, big bros here. Meng Lei had brazenly gone on the offensive. Whoosh! He teleported right in front of a bloodseeker and gouged out its heart in one smooth motion. Then he casually tightened his grip around it and crushed it. What? A Cerberus that had originally been battling the bloodseeker was so frightened by the sight that it shuddered all over. Its eyes, as it gazed at Meng Lei, were filled with shock and fear. He had instantly killed its opponent with just a punch? Just what kind of combat strength was that? Filled with fear and trepidation, the Cerberus was all ready to run. But before it could even run far, Meng Lei had already shown up behind it. A fist went flying out with a flip of his wrist. Bam! The Cerberus head was blasted straight into smithereens. Blood mixed with white and red brains and fluid sprayed about, and the Cerberus died on the spot. That bastard! Euphemia, the three-headed Hell Empress, was so furious that she couldn't help but stamp her foot. The Cerberus that Meng Lei had killed was her offspring, yet Meng Lei had killed it just like that. How could she not be furious? Calm down, Euphemia. This is just the beginning. The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor was full of elation. Damn! Euphemia gnashed her teeth in a fury. Had the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor not been around, she would definitely have lunged forward and killed Meng Lei without any hesitation. Contesting for slots? Rules? They could go to hell. That bastard! Alec, the fallen emperor, suddenly broke into expletives at this point. Veins bulged from the surface of his skin, and he almost went berserk. Taken back, Euphemia quickly raised her head and looked over to see that Meng Lei had killed another fallen angel and gouged out its demonic core from its head. Euphemia heaved a sigh of relief at the sight of that, and a large part of her fury dissipated right away. She felt a lot more comfortable after seeing a rival being down on luck. However, she became furious again the very next moment. Meng Lei had actually set his sights on another Cerberus and was charging toward it. That fool! Hurry, duck! Euphemia hastily shouted a warning. How could the Cerberus possibly be Meng Lei's match in a one-on-one battle? You've broken the rules, Euphemia, said Isaiah coldly. Damn the rules! I am the rules themselves, Euphemia snapped furiously. If that bastard dares so much as to kill another great demon god under my charge, I'll definitely give him a tragic death. Isaiah, the main objective today is placement selection, not for them to kill their opponents. A cold Alec warned. Warn your subordinate and make him cease his slaughter. Otherwise, the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor was secretly furious, but he also understood that should Meng Lei continue his slaughter, given Euphemia's and Alec's personalities, they would definitely come to blows. If they joined hands, he definitely wouldn't be able to stop them. Thus, he had better just quit while he was ahead. The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor suppressed his feelings of frustration and gave Meng Lei a warning. He said, Cease your slaughter, Ice Demon Prefecture Master. Just defeating them would do. Humph! Euphemia and Alec snorted lightly, both thinking to themselves, It's good that you know what's good for you. It was just a pity that. However, what the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor did not expect was that Meng Lei carried on his onslaught of mid-level great demon gods as if he did not hear his order. Bastard! The dark-held demonic emperor was quite embarrassed as he yelled, "Ice Demon Prefecture Master? Have you heard my orders? Cease your killings at once." Meng Lei turned a deaf ear and continued slaughtering. Boom! He blasted an ice demon with a punch. Splurt! He jabbed a wind demon to death with one finger. Crack! He snapped a fallen angel's neck. Ugh! His blade sliced off a Cerberus head. In a matter of seconds, another 4 mid-level great demon gods died in Meng Lei's hands. He earned 240 million divinity crystals. Isaiah, it seems that this prefecture master under you couldn't care less about you, Euphemia said mockingly. Fallen Emperor Alec had something to say too. Isaiah, if you can't control your subordinate, I can help you with that. Damn it! The dark-held demonic emperor was furious as it was a challenge to his authority. A mere prefecture master ignoring it meant that Meng Lei simply disregarded the dark-held demonic emperor. Whoosh! The dark-held demonic emperor joined the battle zone with a flash. In an instant, a massive surging demonic aura swept the entire place. Buzz! The dimension around was locked instantly. The 300 over mid-level great demon gods were imprisoned on the spot. Even the battle's energy waves had stopped moving. It was as if everything became still. What's going on? The demons watching the battle were stunned and confused. The dark-held demonic emperor walked toward Meng Lei as his demonic aura gushed out incessantly. Ice Demon Prefecture Master, why did you not obey my orders? He asked, his cold eyes staring at Meng Lei. Obey your orders? Why should I obey you? Meng Lei broke out of the demon's domain imprisoning him, and looked back at the icy stares of the dark-held demonic emperor. Oh, don't tell me you thought that I'm your subordinate? How impudent! The dark-held demonic emperor's expression turned icy cold. Ice Demon Prefecture Master, do you know what you have just said? Hee hee. Meng Lei smiled as he shook his head. Since things had gotten ugly, there was no need to keep his disguise. Dark-held demonic emperor, I am from another existential plane. The only reason I'm impersonating the Ice Demon Prefecture Master was for the dark canopy of the heavens that's taking place soon. So that's why. Now you shall die. A hint of murderous intent flashed across the dark-held demonic emperor's eyes as he slapped toward Meng Lei. He believed that, with the strength of a high-level great demon god, he could kill Meng Lei with that strike. Nice! Meng Lei met up with his punch. What the? Why did the dark-held demonic emperor start a fight with that guy? If I remember properly, that savage guy was brought here by the dark-held demonic emperor, right? Then why did the dark-held demonic emperor attack him? What exactly is going on? The unknowing, onlooking demons were stupefied. The battle was going on a moment before, and suddenly this happened? That did not make any sense. Boom! Just as the onlookers were bewildered, Meng Lei's fist met the dark-held demonic emperor's palm. It was almost as if Mars had hit Earth, and the duo's raging shockwaves blasted off with a deafening boom. Meng Lei and the dark-held demonic emperor flew backward at the same time. What shocked everyone was that Meng Lei only retreated for a few meters while the dark-held demonic emperor backed off by dozens of meters. It was clear who was superior after one move. What? How can that be?
I'm hallucinating.
I must be hallucinating. The three-headed Hell Empress and the fallen emperor were shocked. Same with the countless other spectators. Who was the Dark Hell demonic emperor? That was one of the 3 most powerful beings on the Dark Hell continent. A high-level great demon god standing on the pinnacle of the pyramid of lifeforms in the continent for countless tens of thousands of years. But Meng Lei? No one knew where he popped out from. Yet, this unknown nobody was evenly matched with the Dark Hell demonic emperor, or even a notch higher. You actually have such power. As his right palm was getting numb, great waves of shock and astonishment churned in the heart of the Dark Hell demonic emperor. He looked at Meng Lei in complete disbelief. The 3-headed Hell Empress and the fallen emperor flew to the Dark Hell demonic emperor and asked somberly, Isaiah, this guy seemed like a tough nut to crack. Need any help? No one shall interfere. The Dark Hell demonic emperor rejected the offer coldly. I brought this scoundrel here, and I'll kill him myself to vent my anger. All right, Both the three-headed Hell Empress and the fallen Emperor agreed and said nothing else. Little fellow, I didn't expect you to possess such power. I must say I underestimated you. But everything ends here. I'll kill you myself. His aura began to surge as if he was a volcano stocking up its energy, awaiting the moment to erupt. Kill me? To be honest, I want to take you out as well. Meng Lei licked his lips as his eyes shone. A mid-level great demon god was worth 60 million, while a high-level great demon god was worth at least 900 million. 900 million! Such a huge sum. The dark hell demonic emperor bellowed as densely packed black spears appeared around his body before they shot toward Meng Lei like a rain of arrows. Netherworld divine fire! The spectators exclaimed as they looked in the same direction almost instinctively. It was the famous Netherworld divine fire, which was incredibly powerful. In particular, the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's Netherworld divine fire was incomparably destructive. The slightest contact with it would most definitely burn one into ashes. Isaiah has gone through 8 rebirths, meaning his Netherworld divine fire has evolved 8 times, with temperatures up to 10 million degrees Celsius. Even we wouldn't dare to take it head-on. The three-headed Hell Empress and the fallen Emperor's expressions changed slightly upon the sight of the overwhelming rain of spears. They dared not underestimate the destructive capabilities of the Netherworld divine fire. A hint of graveness flashed across their eyes. I'll see how you die, scoundrel. The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor snapped as the rain of spears surrounded Meng Lei, blocking any route of retreat. There was no space for him to escape. Meng Lei, wasn't this your standard move? Dodola's voice rang while poking fun at Meng Lei. Now that your own attack is being used against you, does it feel frustrating? Nope. I actually enjoy this feeling. Meng Lei neither dodged nor evaded as he let the spears flood him. Given Meng Lei's divine body's degree of sturdiness, these black spears would not harm his divine body at all. Once they came into contact with him, the rain of spears turned into countless black flames, which devoured Meng Lei in an instant. Meng Lei turned into a black human torch as the fire burned incessantly. He's dead for sure. Even if he has the strength to rival Isaiah, being devoured in the Netherworld divine fire means that he'll never come back from this. The three-headed Hell Empress had already given Meng Lei the death sentence. I wonder where such a crazily strong fellow popped out from. Alec, the fallen emperor, frowned with puzzled eyes. It doesn't matter. What matters now is that he's about to be burned to death, and that's good enough. Euphemia shook her head and smiled. To be honest, the Dark Hell continent had been the trio's territory. Hence, the sudden appearance of someone whose powers matched theirs frightened them. Fortunately for them, this fellow was about to be burned to death while anything else would not matter. However, as the burning process continued, Euphemia's eyebrows raised eventually. Meng Lei seemed fine in the flames of the Netherworld divine fire. He stood within the raging black fire like steel in normal flames. No matter how the fire burned, there was no injury on him. Euphemia frowned and asked, Isaiah, there seems to be something wrong? The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor did not reply. He glared at Meng Lei with crashing waves churning in his heart. This guy seems unafraid of the Netherworld divine fire?
No.
This isn't possible. The Netherworld divine fire is everlasting and burns everything. Mine has already been enhanced to a great level. The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor shook his head repeatedly. It will burn him. I'll wait. I'll just wait. He waited and waited. A minute passed. 2 minutes passed. 3 minutes passed. In the blink of an eye, 5 minutes passed. Meng Lei stood among the flames and let the flames burn while he remained firm and motionless. How did this happen? The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor was stunned once more. It was the same for Euphemia and Alec as the Netherworld divine fire was useless against Meng Lei. Your Majesty, so this is your Netherworld divine fire? It doesn't seem that great after all. Meng Lei shook his head slightly and continued. I thought that your Majesty's Netherworld divine fire would be incredibly powerful and burn anything. After seeing it today, it's nothing impressive. Why? Why aren't you afraid of my Netherworld divine fire? The dark hell demonic emperor seemed to be dealt with a huge blow upon seeing that his signature move was useless against Meng Lei. Why? Meng Lei shook his head and grinned. He pointed a finger, and a golden flame appeared. That's because I have the Netherworld Divine Fire too. Netherworld Divine Fire? The dark hell demonic emperor paused for a moment before laughing. You call this the Netherworld Divine Fire? Who are you trying to bluff? Who doesn't know that the Netherworld Divine Fire is black? Don't believe me? Let's try it out then. Meng Lei flicked the golden flame on his fingertip into the black flames. Once both met, they started to burn each other madly. At the start, the size of the black fire was ferociously huge, while the golden one was only the size of a finger. It seemed that both were at a different level. However, the strange thing was that the golden flame became more and more intense as its size swelled swiftly. On the other hand, the black fire became smaller and smaller. It could not suppress the growth of the golden fire, and it was gradually engulfed in golden flames. In the end, only Meng Lei's golden flames remained. To this, how is this possible? The dark hell demonic emperor could not believe his eyes. The Netherworld Divine Fire that he had evolved from the 8 rebirths was completely suppressed. No matter how strong your Netherworld Divine Fire is, how would it match against my Metal Origin Netherworld Divine Fire? Meng Lei thought triumphantly. After his Metal Origin body was upgraded to Great Mastery, his Netherworld Divine Fire was enhanced into the Metal Origin Netherworld Divine Fire. However, the increase in power was not too much. Thus, it was still slightly inferior to the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's Netherworld Divine Fire. It was not a big deal since he could continue enhancing it. Hence, Meng Lei spent 100 million divinity crystals to enhance the Netherworld Divine Fire again, until it evolved into the Ultimate Innate Special Ability. Ultimate Innate Special Ability. What did Ultimate represent? Ultimate represented the extreme. It represented that there were no innate special abilities stronger than the ultimate innate special ability. It also represented that Meng Lei's Netherworld Divine Fire was enhanced to the limit, and it would never evolve again no matter how many times he underwent rebirth again. Of course, it meant that Meng Lei's Metal Origin Netherworld Divine Fire now was at the same level as a normal 9 rebirth Netherworld Divine Fire, while Meng Lei's Divine Fire might be slightly stronger too. What kind of fire is that? Muttered the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor. You still can't tell? What a foolish demon. Meng Lei shook his head as he transformed into a shining divine golden phoenix. This aura. Chapter 344 The Grim Reaper's Eye evolves, killing the Demonic Emperor. At the same time, a terrifying force that reached into the heavens and deep into the ground engulfed the area and swept through every inch of land, crushing everything in all directions. Dazzling golden light, a sharp aura of slaughter. Added to this that familiar appearance of a cockatoo-like head, a snake-like neck, a strong jaw, a raised back, and a fishtail. That aura, and that appearance. The dark hell demonic emperor's eyes widened big and round as he exclaimed, "Why does it resemble a divine netherworld phoenix so much? No, it's not so much that it resembles one as it is one." The 3-headed Hell Empress eyes bore into Meng Lei as she declared, "It is a divine netherworld phoenix just like you are." "No, that's impossible. How can a divine netherworld phoenix possibly look like that?" The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor shook his head forcefully, though a tiny theory had already formed in his mind. "That's a Metal Origin divine body," the fallen emperor murmured to himself. "It's a divine netherworld phoenix with a Metal Origin divine body. Never have I ever thought that I would see such a rare divine body during this lifetime. A Metal Origin divine body?" A huge jolt went through the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor. That's... The idle demons watching the battle were also stunned. Even their brains had somewhat short-circuited as they stared at the enormous creature suspended proudly in the sky. Its appearance and the aura around it bore a striking resemblance to that of a divine netherworld phoenix, yet it was golden in color. Was that really a divine netherworld phoenix? "Do you see it now, your majesty?" The Metal Origin divine netherworld phoenix spoke the human tongue and said, "I'm also a divine netherworld phoenix, and my divine flames are also netherworld divine fire. That is why you can't burn me to death. Well done. Well done indeed. After a brief moment of astonishment, the dark hell demonic emperor finally regained his senses. His eyes shone with fervency as he said, "Never have I ever thought that you would actually be a divine netherworld phoenix with a metal origin divine body. If I destroy your divine spirit and occupy that body of yours, I shall own a metal origin divine netherworld phoenix alternate incarnation." 2. The dark hell demonic emperor's eyes turned incredibly scorching hot at this point. He said, "I must thank you for coming here and bestowing such a golden opportunity upon me. Kid, occupy my body?" As though he had just heard the funniest joke in the world, Meng Lei burst into laughter and said, "Your Majesty, you overestimate yourself. Is that so?" The dark hell demonic emperor let out a snort. Then, a terrifying wave of demons domains swept out from him, instantly locking down the dimension around Meng Lei and trapping Meng Lei himself along with it as well. Kill! The dark hell demonic emperor appeared right in front of Meng Lei like a phantom the very next moment and quietly took out a blood-red dagger stained with blood. Rather than a dagger, it looked more like a razor blade. Slash! The dark hell demonic emperor slashed right at Meng Lei's throat with the blood-red razor blade in hand. Had it been any other ordinary attack, Meng Lei wouldn't have thought much of it at all. However, he could feel a strong sense of danger coming from the tiny little razor blade in this instant. That razor blade is capable of taking my life. Meng Lei felt an intense tingling sensation on his scalp, and he promptly teleported and vanished from where he was, causing the dark hell demonic emperor's razor blade to miss. He actually dodged it? The dark hell demonic emperor found this rather unbelievable. By right, Meng Lei would have needed some time to shake off his demon's domain, and this pocket of time would have been sufficient for his attack to land on Meng Lei. Yet the reality was that Meng Lei had actually evaded the attack. How did he manage to escape? What kind of weapon is that, Your Majesty? Meng Lei's eyes bore into the blood-red razor blade in the dark hell demonic emperor's grip as he barked the question gravely. "You're surprisingly quick at fleeing." The dark hell demonic emperor didn't answer Meng Lei. Instead, he turned to the three-headed hell empress and the fallen emperor and said, "Aid me in taking him down, and the dark hell demonic kingdom shall not take part in the dark canopy of the heavens journey this time." Both the three-headed hell empress and the fallen emperor knew exactly what the dark hell demonic emperor had in mind. It was very evident that he had set his sights on Meng Lei's body. Even they coveted the metal origin divine body, let alone the dark hell demonic emperor who was a divine netherworld phoenix. It was just that the dark hell demonic emperor undoubtedly desired the body even more desperately than them. The three-headed hell empress said, "Isaiah, the other party is a divine netherworld phoenix with a metal origin divine body of great master level that possesses unlimited potential. We can aid you in taking him down, but the conditions you've offered are simply too lacking in sincerity." The fallen emperor also said, "The boundless plane is fraught with great danger, so the chances of people successfully bringing out priceless treasures are simply too low. If you'd like us to aid you, then you'll have to offer up treasures of similar value." 2. These two greedy fellows. The dark hell demonic emperor had an awful look on his countenance, though he then said coldly, "Aid me in taking him down, and I'll give you 2 high-level great demon god dead bodies." The three-headed hell empress eyelid twitched a little, though she still shook her head. "It isn't enough. I'll throw in another 2 high-tier demonic weapons." The dark hell demonic emperor continued to make an offer. "Isaiah, be it high-level great demon god dead bodies or high-tier divine weapons, they are nothing but icing on the cake for you and me. There isn't much practical value in them." The fallen emperor shook his head and said, "Your level of sincerity is too low. We can't help you like that." "That bastard!" The dark hell demonic emperor was so furious that he had broken into expletives. "Alec, you're too greedy. Compared to a metal origin divine netherworld phoenix alternate incarnation, the sincerity you've shown is not up to snuff at all." The fallen emperor let out a derisive snort of laughter and said, "If you want us to help you, then show some sincerity, Isaiah." "Damn it!" The dark hell demonic emperor took a deep breath. He suppressed the fury within him and said unhurriedly, "We'll cancel the previous offer. Would 2 great perfection-level demonic weapons suffice?" "All right, deal." The 3-headed Hell Empress and the fallen Emperor's eyes brightened a little. This time they took up the offer right away. "Since you've agreed to it, then cut the crap and help me to take him down." The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor barked stiffly, feeling as though his heart was bleeding as he spoke. "No problem." The 3-headed Hell Empress and the fallen Emperor appeared right in front of Meng Lei with a flash of their forms. For a moment there, the trio formed a triangular formation and surrounded Meng Lei on all sides. "Give up and surrender, kid. There's no way you'll be able to escape. Extending your neck in preparation for execution is your final outcome. Ganging up on me just because you can't beat me one-on-one? This certainly matches your demonic natures very much." Meng Lei's gaze swept across all 3 of them one by one. "But with the likes of the 3 of you, I don't think you can kill me just yet? We'll see about that. Attack." Demon's Domain. The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor let out a deep roar while the 3-headed Hell Empress and the fallen Emperor promptly cast Demon's Domain. Evidently, they were intending to suppress Meng Lei so that they could take him down thereafter. Buzz. The imprisoning force from a stack of 3 demons' domains cast by 3 high-level great demon gods was incredibly strong. Meng Lei could totally sense how fearsome the imprisoning force was. It was enough to suppress any high-level great demon god out there. "Die, you worm!" The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor let out a furious roar. The blood-red razor blade in his hand drew a blood-red slash across the air as it went straight for Meng Lei's throat. Given how sharp it was, it would undoubtedly slash Meng Lei's throat open if the attack landed. One strike would be all it needed to take his life. It's a good weapon, and the imprisoning force from your demon's domains is also extremely strong. What a shame. Meng Lei shook his head lightly. A thought flashed across his mind, and then he vanished right away from where he was. By the time he next appeared, he had already bizarrely shown up behind the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor. "Hey!" Meng Lei patted the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor on the shoulder and asked with a smile, "Do you have the guts to look at me?" A jolt went through the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor, and he immediately smashed his elbow into Meng Lei without even so much as a thought. Meng Lei dodged the attack and kept his gaze on the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor. Meanwhile, the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor also turned around to look at him. 2 pairs of eyes gazed at each other. Meng Lei couldn't help but laugh. "You're doomed." Just as the puzzlement filled the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor, a golden eye slowly surfaced in between Meng Lei's brows before it snapped open forcefully. Whoosh! A golden light beam shot out of it, striking the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor in between his brows in a split second. Boom! As though he was thunderstruck, the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor instantly froze where he was and became completely still. That's a short distance away. A violent jolt involuntarily went through the 3-headed Hell Empress and the fallen Emperor upon seeing what had happened. They couldn't help but exclaim, "The Grim Reaper's eye! Damn it! That's the Grim Reaper's eye! Stop him! We mustn't let him get his way!" The 2 rulers brazenly launched their attacks. As demonic lifeforms, they were all too aware of how frightening the Grim Reaper's eye was. Once they gave Meng Lei enough time, the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor would be doomed for sure. And once the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor was dead, they definitely wouldn't have it any better, either. Therefore, they absolutely had to stop Meng Lei. "Stop me?" Meng Lei let out a derisive snort of laughter. Then, he grabbed the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor and vanished from where they were, his whereabouts unknown. "Where's he? Where are they?" The 3-headed Hell Empress and the fallen Emperor's attacks landed on empty air. They looked around, but there was no one around, let alone Meng Lei and the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor. Damn it! Where has that bastard brought the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor? The 2 terribly enraged rulers' expressions were exceedingly grim and sinister. When had they ever been played like fools like this during all this time that they dominated the Dark Hell continent? What a great insult to them this was. "Find him. We must find him no matter what." "Find him? It was naturally impossible for them to find him because Meng Lei had already teleported millions of kilometers away with the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor in tow. One must admit that the teleportation special ability was simply too powerful. As Meng Lei's divine spirit powered up, the range that his teleportation special ability could cover had also increased along with it. He could cover at least 10 million kilometers with each teleportation attempt. Therefore, finding him was practically just a pipe dream for the three-headed Hell Empress and the Fallen Emperor. They wouldn't even be able to catch a glimpse of his shadow, let alone actually finding him. However, Meng Lei had also encountered some difficulties. He was experiencing great resistance from the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor. For a while, he actually couldn't extract the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's divine spirit from his body. Dodola reminded him loudly, "Meng Lei, your Grim Reaper's eye isn't strong enough." "Not strong enough?" Meng Lei snorted coldly and ordered, "System, enhance my Grim Reaper's eye." Ding! The host's Grim Reaper's eye is currently classified as a superior grade innate special ability and will become an ultimate grade innate special ability after enhancement. Enhancement cost is estimated at 100 million divinity crystals. The system asked coldly, "Will you enhance it?" "Yes, enhance it." Whoosh! His wealth decreased by 100 million divinity crystals in an instant. Meng Lei then felt a fascinating warm current flowing into the Grim Reaper's eye in the middle of his brows and furiously enhancing it. "Since I'm going to enhance it anyway, then I might as well go all the way. I have the cash for it anyway." Meng Lei barked coldly, "System, enhance my divine spirit, too." Ding! The host's divine spirit is currently comparable to an elemental level higher deities and will rival that of a mid-level higher deities after enhancement. Enhancement cost is estimated at 60 million divinity crystals. The system asked coldly, "Will you enhance it?" "Yes, enhance it." Whoosh! A few minutes later, when both the Grim Reaper's eye and his divine spirit's enhancements were complete, Meng Lei restarted his attempts to extract the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's divine spirit. The resistance he encountered was still just as strong, but it didn't amount to anything at all this time. Damn it! The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor let out a wretched cry, and then his divine spirit flew uncontrollably toward the Grim Reaper's eye. Upon being sucked into the Grim Reaper's eye, a fearsome destructive force manifested and began to furiously crush the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's divine spirit. Aha! Despite the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's powerful divine spirit, he nevertheless couldn't withstand the Grim Reaper's eye's insane destructive force. Ultimately crushed into smithereens, he was then turned into the purest of divine spirit power that surged into Meng Lei's own divine spirit. This feels awesome. Meng Lei was in such a fantastic mood that he was even making snot bubbles. "What the heck? You've killed even the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor." Dodola let out a strange-sounding squawk. "Impressive, impressive. I'm not even impressed by anyone else other than you now. You now. Tisk, TSK. 930 million divinity crystals? What a windfall. Adding this to my previous gains, my wealth must already have broken through the 2 billion milestone by now. Tisk, TSK. Money comes much faster when you kill high-level great demon gods like the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor after all." Of course, Meng Lei didn't forget about the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's spatial ring, either. The blood-red razor blade from just now had left a fairly deep impression on him, so he had to take it out for a look for sure. "System, collect all the things you can collect first." Whoosh! His wealth increased by 400 million divinity crystals in no time. It wasn't a very great increase. The Dark Hell Demonic Emperor was a demon, after all, so he hadn't been that interested in divinity crystals and laws of nature origin crystals. What the spatial ring contained the most were instead various types of demon carcasses and weapons, among which even the most inferior of the lot was a mid-level great demon god carcass. There were also quite a few high-level great demon god carcasses. No, these aren't high-level great demon gods but other life forms. Meng Lei took out one of the high-level great demon god carcasses. It was a bronze-colored, demi-giant-like creature with intertwining muscles. Unlike demi-giants, however, it had 6 arms, and its muscles were incredibly hard like rocks and filled with explosive power. A boundless giant. Dodola flew out of the Tower of Time and gazed at the giant's dead body in astonishment. It said, "That form is definitely a boundless giant. There's no mistaking it." A boundless giant? Meng Lei perked up. There are many giant races, among which the most well-known is naturally the Titans. However, apart from the Titans, many other types of giants are well known for their savagery. For example, the boundless giants, the golden horn giants, the wild giants, and so on. Dodola explained, the boundless giants were initially nobodies, but following the boundless king's emergence, the boundless giants also emerged along with him and made a mighty and illustrious name for themselves. It was just a shame that while they had emerged thanks to the boundless king, they also died out along with him. Following the boundless king's demise, the enormous boundless kingdom collapsed and crumbled, and the boundless giants also faded into silence. I see. Meng Lei nodded repeatedly and added, perhaps it's exactly because of the boundless giant's existence that many Dark Hell Continent experts believe that the boundless plane had been refined by the boundless king before. There was no smoke without fire. From the looks of it, the Dark Hell Continent experts weren't just making things up when they gave the boundless plane its name. Dodola sighed and said, I can only say that there's a certain chance that that's the case. As for whether or not it's true, it may not necessarily be the case. Meng Lei continued to look through the spatial ring's contents after that. Apart from an astonishing number of boundless giant dead bodies, there were also a lot of other types of dead bodies and remains. They were basically all extremely powerful existences. Meng Lei wasn't very interested in these dead bodies, so he picked a few of the strongest for himself and sent the rest all into the Tower of Time. Without those dead bodies, the spatial ring became incredibly spacious right away, and each and every weapon in there entered his sight. Almost every single weapon emanated a fearsome and savage aura that made one's heart pound in trepidation. So many high-level demonic weapons. And this one, too. A blood-red razor blade that seemed as if it were forged from blood appeared in Meng Lei's hand. The sharp aura it gave off turned Meng Lei's scalp numb. He knew that the tiny little razor blade was definitely capable of easily slicing open his divine body. Meng Lei asked unhurriedly, What grade is this weapon, Dodola? Let me take a look. Dodola observed it closely for a moment and said, Its degree of sharpness has already exceeded that of a great perfection-level divine weapon. In fact, it's even comparable to a chief god-level weapon. Yet it evidently isn't equipped with the various chief god-level weapons' might and functions. On top of that, what is it? Meng Lei quickly asked. This blade is obviously incomplete. A shrewd glint appeared in Dodola's eyes as it said, If I'm not mistaken, this should be a chief god-level weapon's spare part. A huge jolt went through Meng Lei as he exclaimed, No wonder it's so sharp. So it's a chief god-level weapon's spare part. Dodola said slowly, I wonder where the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor had gotten this from. If he had gotten it from the Boundless Plane, then it's highly likely that the Boundless Plane is related to the Boundless King. Meng Lei suddenly asked, Dodola, do you think anyone owns the Boundless Plane? If it is, wouldn't I be courting death if I enter it? It probably doesn't. Dodola shook its head and said, If someone already owned the Boundless Plane, then how would they possibly allow people from Dark Hell Continent and other existential planes to go in and out at will? That's true. Meng Lei heaved a sigh of relief. Let's go. It's time to dispose of those two fellows. Dodola said with a shake of its head. Get rid of them first, so that you can completely eliminate all possible future threats. All right. Meng Lei nodded heavily. By the time he next appeared, he was already back at the dark canopy of the heavens. The many demons watching the battle were still there, as were the mid-level great demon gods who had been fighting it out in the melee. The only ones missing were the three-headed Hell Empress and the fallen Emperor. They aren't here? That works in my favor, too. Meng Lei turned toward the 300-odd mid-level great demon gods who had already ended their melee and were currently staring at him. He licked his lips and dived straight in. Damn it! He's coming over. Run! Although they had been imprisoned for a short while, the mid-level great demon gods had nevertheless witnessed the whole battle that had taken place between Meng Lei and the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor. Thus, they were well aware of Meng Lei's great strength. Upon noticing Meng Lei charging toward them at the moment, the group of great demon gods was almost scared out of their wits, and they made a run for it without any hesitation. They didn't have the guts to battle Meng Lei at all. Thinking of fleeing? Meng Lei sneered. God's domain. Buzz. Fearsome power from God's domain spread into the surroundings, instantly enveloping the whole area 10,000 miles of where they were and also trapping the 300-odd mid-level great demon gods on the spot. Trapping over 300 mid-level great demon gods single-handedly. This was exactly what made a high-level great demon god so fearsome. It was also representative of the huge difference in strength between a mid-level great demon god and a high-level one. The difference was truly an insurmountable obstacle. Battling past one's own level? One could dream on. Netherworld divine fire. Over 300 golden spears formed in front of Meng Lei with a wave from him. They were spears of flames manifested from Netherworld divine fire. Go! The 300-odd golden spears shot out swiftly with a wave of Meng Lei's hand. They unsurprisingly pierced right through the 300-odd great demon gods' heads and shot them dead on the spot. After gouging out their demonic cores and taking their spatial rings, he then sent their dead bodies into the Tower of Time and tossed them to the golden little tree for its feeding pleasure. Perfect! Meng Lei was very satisfied with his gains. Then, as though there was no one else in the vicinity, he sat cross-legged in front of the cliff and began to destroy the mid-level great demon gods' divine spirits one by one. Ding! 1 Cerberus killed. 61 million divinity crystals gained. Ding! 1 8-winged fallen angel killed. 61.5 million divinity crystals gained. Ding! 1 divine netherworld phoenix killed. 62 million divinity crystals gained. Meng Lei listened to the system's constant ringing notifications and watched his continuously increasing wealth value in a fantastic mood, as if he had eaten a jar of honey. On the other hand, the many demons here to watch the battle were utterly frightened out of their minds because he had annihilated more than 300 great demon gods in just the span of a couple of breaths. Just what kind of combat strength was that? And what level of savagery was that? All 3 demonic kingdoms' mid-level great demon gods have been taken out in one fell swoop. Oh my God! How did that happen? The demon onlookers shook in their boots, feeling as if the sky had fallen on them. However, what made them even more horror-stricken was yet to come. Following a couple of whizzes, the 3-headed Hell Empress and the fallen Emperor returned to the scene once more. The 3-headed Hell Empress asked fiercely, "Where's Isaiah? Kid? What have you done to him?" "What have I done to him? I killed him, of course." Boom, boom, boom. The Dark Hell demonic emperor who had stood strong and dominated Dark Hell continent for tens of thousands of years was actually dead? How could that be? No, that's not true. His Majesty is one of the 3 most powerful experts in Dark Hell continent. How immensely powerful is his battle prowess? How could he possibly have died? That's right. It must be fake. The demons watching the battle couldn't accept the news at all. Have you really killed him? The 3-headed Hell Empress voice was shaking somewhat. Not only have I killed him, but I'm also going to kill you. Meng Lei appeared in front of the 3-headed Hell Empress like a phantom. Then, his grim reaper's eye abruptly opened, and a golden light beam suddenly struck the 3-headed Hell Empress in between her brows. Duck! The fallen emperor suddenly attacked in the nick of time. He stomped on Meng Lei's face and sent him flying with a kick. The 3-headed Hell Empress felt as if she had just had a near-death experience. The sensation of the Grim Reaper's eye enveloping her divine spirit and immobilizing her just now had simply felt too awful. If you don't want to die, then keep your guard up, the fallen emperor said coldly. Show even a moment of carelessness, and we'll end up just like Isaiah. Thanks, Alec. The 3-headed Hell Empress cast a grateful glance at the fallen emperor. Then, she turned to Meng Lei with immense killing intent in her eyes and said, "You deserve death for that." Roar. The 3-headed Hell Empress let out a furious roar and transformed into a huge, 8 million feet long, 3-headed hound bathed in blood-red flames. It was none other than the 3-headed Hell Empress' true form, a Cerberus. Boom! At the same time, an incredibly violent, bloodthirsty, and savage aura also swept through the surroundings. All the demons that had come to watch the battle trembled in fear and prostrated on the ground, unable to even stand. The three-headed Hell Empress opened all three of her large, cavernous jaws, and three energy torrents sprayed from within. One was a torrent of crimson-red flames, one was a torrent of thick, black smoke, and one was a torrent of green acid. The three torrents traveled across the distance and rushed toward Meng Lei almost unreasonably quickly, intending to burn him into ashes, smoke him into dried bones, and corrode him into a pool of liquid. However, Meng Lei easily evaded the three torrents of energy coming at him with fierce momentum with a teleport, all the while keeping his gaze fixed on the fallen emperor. "How dare you kick me in the face? Well done. Well done indeed." Murderous intent emanated wantonly from Meng Lei, who had an awful look on his countenance. The fallen emperor remained expressionless. A long black sword appeared in his hand, and he turned into a black streak of light that rushed straight toward Meng Lei with a light flap of his 8 black wings. He was incredibly fast, even more so than the three-headed Hell Empress and the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor. He arrived right in front of Meng Lei in an instant and cleaved his sword down. Judgment of Sin. The jet-black sword gave off an incomparably unholy aura. The blade hadn't even reached Meng Lei, yet its unholy aura was already assaulting Meng Lei's senses and messing with his divine spirit. That's a good sword. It's just a shame that Meng Lei neither ducked nor evaded the attack. Instead, he abruptly vanished in the very instant that the black sword cleaved down at him. The fallen emperor's expression changed at once, and he tried to duck and get out of range without a second thought. "It's too late." A cold and aloof voice rang out beside his ear, and then he felt a piercing pain in his abdomen. The fallen emperor looked down to see that a blood-red blade had pierced right through his abdomen to stab into his heart. "You're actually holding on to this blade." The fallen emperor was astounded. His attention had been fully on the Grim Reaper's eye just now, so it hadn't occurred to him at all that the blood-red blade might actually have fallen into Meng Lei's hands. That was too careless of him. He should have thought of it earlier. "No one on the same level as or below me is my match." Meng Lei stood right behind the fallen emperor and said dispassionately, "With this blood-red razor blade added to the combination of teleportation and the Grim Reaper's eye, how are you going to fight against me now?" "So, that's teleportation." A huge jolt went through the fallen emperor. "Little did I think that you'd actually own a special ability as fearsome as that." However, whoosh, the fallen emperor suddenly transformed into a cloud of black fog. He swiftly vanished from where he was before, resuming his previous form several hundred meters away. Dark elemental transformation. Meng Lei was slightly taken aback. He couldn't help but become puzzled. He asked, "Do fallen angels also possess that innate special ability, Dodola?" Dodola explained, "Low-level fallen angels do not possess that ability, but they'll gain it once they cultivate into an 8-winged fallen angel." "I see." Meng Lei nodded lightly. "Euphemia, let's attack together." Although the fallen emperor had managed to escape, the blow just now had given him a sense of impending death. He said, "Stop holding back. Attack with all you've got and kill him." "All right." Holding back? She no longer dared to hold back anymore, of course. Meng Lei's immense combat prowess had deeply astounded the three-headed Hell Empress. Should she continue to hold back, she would undoubtedly die in one of the worst ways possible. Death roar. The three-headed Hell Empress opened her cavernous jaws again and roared furiously into the heavens. Deafening booms rang out as raging sound waves swept into the surroundings and assailed Meng Lei. As a canine, her roars were already very loud from the start, let alone when she was a Cerberus. Barking had even become one of their innate special abilities. Boom! The violent sound waves instantly engulfed Meng Lei, causing him to lose his sense of hearing. Loud ringing rang out in his ears, and his mind slipped into a temporary state of blankness. Here's my chance. The fallen emperor wielded the black sword in his hand and slashed right at Meng Lei's throat. Although the black greatsword wasn't as good as the Dark Hell Demonic Emperor's blood-red razor blade, it was still a great perfection-level demonic weapon and boasted an incredible degree of sharpness. The fallen emperor believed that as long as his attack landed, the great sword would definitely be able to slash open Meng Lei's throat and behead him, thereby taking his life with one hit. Ugh! The black sword cleaved down at Meng Lei's throat. This time, however, Meng Lei evidently didn't dodge the attack, and the fallen emperor couldn't help but reveal a smile. He had finally succeeded. However, before he could stay delighted for long, Meng Lei's throat surprisingly turned into a cloud of black fog. On top of that, the rest of his body below the throat also turned into black fog. His head was the only part of him that remained in his human form. A huge jolt went through the fallen emperor. Do you think that you're the only one who can transform into dark elements? A hint of a smile appeared on Meng Lei's face as he slowly uttered 3 words, Grim Reaper's Eye. The third eye in between Meng Lei's brows slowly opened the moment he spoke. At the sight, the fallen emperor transformed into a cloud of black fog without a second thought again, all ready to run. Ha! That move again? Meng Lei let out a derisive scoff of laughter and pointed with his finger. Buzz! A golden chilly current shot out of his finger, instantly engulfing the black fog that was the fallen emperor and freezing him into a golden lump of ice. Damn it! Blood drained from the face of the fallen emperor within the ice lump. Not only had the hard and tough ice lump sealed his movements, but it also prevented him from exiting his state of elemental transformation. He couldn't transform back to his original form anymore. Save me, Euphemia! The anxious fallen emperor shouted and released roiling waves of divine spirit energy. Roar! At the sight of the fallen emperor's predicament, the 3-headed Hell Empress hurriedly let out a roar. Roiling sound waves abruptly rushed toward the fallen emperor, who was encased within the ice lump with a great blast. Go ahead and hit it. I'll let you off today if you can break it. Meng Lei didn't stop the 3-headed Hell Empress. Instead, he watched her with a big smile and allowed her to attack the ice lump. Boom! Violent sound waves crashed against the golden ice lump, yet it was as though torrential tidal waves were crashing against hard and solid coral reefs. They couldn't leave even a scratch on the golden ice lump. I can't break it? The 3-headed Hell Empress was astounded. What kind of ice is that? That's mysterious ice of the depths, the frost god's innate special ability. Meng Lei gave her a slight smile and added, Of course, I've also spent a bit of money and evolved it into an ultimate grade special ability, so it's impossible for you to break it. Though the 3-headed Hell Empress was confused by his explanation, she managed to catch the gist of it, nonetheless. Firstly, the ice was made from the frost god's mysterious ice of the depths. Secondly, the mysterious ice of the depths had become an ultimate grade special ability. Mysterious ice of the depths. An ultimate grade special ability. What kind of freak are you, exactly? The 3-headed Hell Empress was close to having a mental breakdown. You're the freak. Your entire family is a freak. Meng Lei took a step forward, immediately arriving right in front of the 3-headed Hell Empress, who was currently in a mental state of turmoil. Mysterious ice of the depths sprayed from his finger as he pointed at the 3-headed Hell Empress, freezing her body and the 2 heads on her left and right. Only the head in the middle was left unfrozen. Damn it! The 3-headed Hell Empress struggled fiercely, but she simply couldn't break free of mysterious ice of the depths' hold on her, let alone break the ice itself. That thing was simply too tough. It had exceeded what her abilities were capable of. What's your preferred way to die, Your Majesty? Asked a cheerful Meng Lei as he stroked the 3-headed Hell Empress' head. What do you want? The 3-headed Hell Empress was in such a panic that even her voice was trembling. I had initially wanted to kill you, but the dark canopy of the heavens is about to open. Things will definitely go wrong in Dark Hell Continent if I go to the Boundless Plane just like that. A glint flashed in Meng Lei's eyes as he went on. Therefore, I'd like to give you a chance. Hand over your divine spirit origin energy and submit to me, and I'll spare your life. No matter what, it was definite that Meng Lei would have to make a trip to the Boundless Plane. The problem was, what was he supposed to do about Dark Hell Continent after he left? Even with the 3 major rulers of the continent and most of the mid-level great demon gods dead, a fair number of mid-level great demon gods remained hidden in Dark Hell Continent's various nooks and crannies. Those mid-level great demon gods were exactly what Meng Lei was greatly concerned about. He would be totally screwed if some guy secretly refined Dark Hell Continent's heart of the existential plane while he was in the Boundless plane. Thus, he needed someone to watch over Dark Hell Continent and help him to look after things there. Submit. The three-headed Hell Empress expression changed greatly. She was one of the three lofty powerhouses of the continent and had enjoyed a high and mighty status there for tens of thousands of years. Submission. How would that do? If you don't submit, then you can go straight to hell, said Meng Lei icily. I submit. I'm willing to submit. The three-headed Hell Empress was still hesitating when the ice-encased fallen emperor at the other side took the initiative to speak up first. He sent a telepathic message via his divine spirit. He sounded extremely desperate and anxious as he said, Sir, I'm willing to submit. I'm willing to do anything for you and serve you faithfully. Oh! Meng Lei cocked an eyebrow as a hint of a smile appeared on his lips. He remarked, Wise people still exist in this world, don't they? It seems like you've let your opportunity slip by you, three-headed Hell Empress. Alec, you despicable bastard. The furious three-headed Hell Empress broke into a rant. Then, as though she had finally ditched her noble bearing, she said, Sir, I'm willing to submit to you. I hope you can take me in. Then, she hurriedly released her divine spirit origin energy and offered it up to Meng Lei. She was now the very picture of someone willing to accept whatever was done to her and would even cooperate in every way possible. Oh dear, things have become rather difficult now. Meng Lei glanced at the three-headed Hell Empress and then at the fallen emperor. Awfully troubled, he said, Both of you are willing to submit, but who exactly should I pick? Pick me, sir. Pick me. The fallen emperor pleaded. I'm a fallen angel, so I have great strength. On top of that, I'll also be absolutely loyal to you. I will do exactly as you say and will never defy your orders. Your will is my direction in life itself. Alec, you dirty, evil, and cunning fallen angel. Is there anyone who isn't aware that fallen angels like you are the most adept in lying and going against their word? The three-headed Hell Empress broke into a rant. When it comes to loyalty, no one is more loyal than us canines. Sir, I'm a Cerberus. Once I acknowledge someone as my master, I'll never go against my word for life. Besides, Alec, that bastard, even stomped on your face just now, sir. That's so treacherous of him. Sir, you'd better just pick me. Just pick me. This guy is pretty wealthy. Meng Lei checked the spatial ring left behind by the fallen emperor, and he was satisfied with the treasures within. After that, he looked at the three-headed Hell Empress and said, Give me your spatial ring. Yes, master. The three-headed Hell Empress was reluctant, but she still gave away her spatial ring immediately. Meng Lei took everything inside. After a round of collection, Meng Lei returned the spatial ring to the three-headed Hell Empress. She checked the ring with her divine cognition and almost coughed up blood as the ring was almost empty. That was too harsh. He only left a few demonic crystals, the rest all gone. That was what an evil tyrant would do. This bastard. The three-headed Hell Empress felt that her heart was bleeding. She wished that she could smash Meng Lei with a hammer to vent her anger. Yet, she knew that she could not do so since Meng Lei controlled her divine spirit origin energy. Thus, there was only one word if she dared to provoke him. Death. You're scolding me? Meng Lei had a ghostly smile. And no. The three-headed Hell Empress trembled in fear and shook her head repeatedly in denial. This is my first and final warning. Meng Lei swept a glance at her. Carry on. Bring me the dark hell demonic kingdoms, fallen kingdoms, and your three-headed Hell Kingdom's treasury to me. Remember, if you dare to steal any treasure, I'll make you understand why flowers are red. Yes, master. The three-headed Hell Empress quivered and went to execute the order. To think the great three-headed Hell Empress would actually end up like this. That's just sad. Dodola watched the three-headed Hell Empress back inside. In a world where the strong are revered, anything can happen. We'll just get used to it. Meng Lei found a place to sit down where he would wait for the dark canopy of the heavens to start while destroying the divine spirits of mid-level great demon gods to earn more divinity crystals in the meantime. Ding! 1 ice great demon god killed. 6,300,000 divinity crystals gained. Ding! 1 Cerberus killed. 6,250,000 divinity crystals gained. The system's notification sounds kept ringing as divine spirits were getting destroyed one by one within each demonic cores, while Meng Lei's wealth continued to skyrocket. While Meng Lei destroyed the last of the 300 divine spirits, something happened at the cliff in front. Dark beams of light radiated from the middle of the cliff. A 100 feet tall, 100 feet wide black portal appeared as it seemed like a stage's curtain. The dark canopy of the heavens has opened. Meng Lei perked up and looked toward the portal in the middle of the cliff. At the same time, a commotion erupted among the onlooking demons. It's open. The dark canopy of the heavens has finally opened. Who can enter this time? Every mid-level great demon god is dead. Even among the dark hell demonic emperor, the fallen emperor, and the three-headed hell empress, 2 died while 1 submitted. So the one who can enter this time. This is the dark canopy of the heavens. Dodola appeared on Meng Lei's shoulder, its eyes shining brightly. That was the existential plane the Boundless King had refined before. Just the Boundless King itself was enough for Dodola to look forward to the trip. Dodola, are you sure the Boundless Plane doesn't have a master? Meng Lei contained his excitement and confirmed again. I'm not too sure, but the possibility is quite high. Dodola smiled. Trust me, my instincts are normally accurate. What if it's not accurate this time? Wouldn't that force me into a precarious situation? Meng Lei rolled his eyes. Why would I trust instincts for such an important matter when my life might be at stake? It's way too naive. Don't worry. If the Boundless Plane has a master, I can guarantee your safety. You might have forgotten that I knew how to use the great world-breaching transfer technique. Dodola smiled faintly. At most, we escape immediately. What can the master of an existential plane do to us? How could your great world-breaching transfer technique work and help us escape the imprisonment of a mid-end power of existential plane? Meng Lei was quite astonished. So you think the name world-breaching is a joke? Dodola snorted. Other than the power of chief gods, the mid-end power of existential plane is useless against the great world-breaching transfer technique. All right, I'm relieved to hear that. Meng Lei let out a sigh of relief. Okay, enough blabbering. Are we going in or not? Dodola could not help but urge. Here we go. Meng Lei stood up and entered the dark portal. He went in. That expert went in. He didn't care about us. This means that the onlooking demons were not stupid, so they charged toward the portal once Meng Lei entered the dark canopy of the heavens. In the past, the dark canopy of the heavens used to be controlled by the 3 kingdoms. They were never allowed to enter while they could only act as spectators outside. It was different today, however. When the opportunity presented itself, who would let it slip? Mine. The slot is mine. Get lost. I'll kill anyone who dares obstruct me. Ah! The crowd of demons plunged into madness as they fought for the 35 remaining slots to enter in a bloody, brutal competition. Of course, Meng Lei would not have known about these. He had appeared in a dimensional channel after he entered the dark canopy of the heavens. It was different from the space-time rift between Light Continent and Dark Hell Continent. This channel was very stable while it was like a dreamy, colorful corridor. As Meng Lei walked inside, there were neither time-space fluxes nor dimensional gales. It was steady and silent, as if he was walking in a tunnel from his past life. Meng Lei, this dimensional channel doesn't look like it's formed naturally, Dodola quickly concluded. It seems to be artificial. Artificial. Meng Lei was amazed. Who was capable of creating an artificially made dimensional channel? Far and few. Dodola sighed. I'm now convinced that the Boundless Plane was once refined and owned by the Boundless King. Okay. Meng Lei hastened his pace. After around 10 minutes, they finally reached the end of the channel. Light flashed into their eyes as they entered a new world. Grayish skies, grayish earth, grayish plants, grayish hills. Everything in their sights was gloomy and gray. Even the rolling rivers and the vast plains were painted in gray. Meng Lei could not help but comment, "Such a dull world. Don't just look at the surface. Just sense the magic elements and the laws of nature in this existential plane," said Dodola. Eh? Meng Lei sensed the surroundings and came to a realization. The magic elements here are much richer than Dark Hell continents. It must be richer by at least 10 times, right? And the laws of nature, this is so clear. Cultivating here might even turn a pig into a Saint Domain magical beast. Since he had just come from Dark Hell continent, Meng Lei compared this plane to Dark Hell continent instead of low-end existential planes like Heaven's Vault continent. Hence, Meng Lei was surprised that the magic elements were richer by at least 10 times while the laws of nature were far clearer compared to Dark Hell continents. They're both mid-end existential planes. So why is there such a massive difference? Meng Lei asked. This is very normal. Dodola continued. There aren't any identical existential planes, and massive differences exist even between mid-end existential planes. Okay. Meng Lei did not mind that issue as he continued his exploration of this new mid-end existential plane. Other than the magic elements and the laws of nature, there was not much difference in gravity, dimensional stability, restraint to divine cognition, and so on. After he had a brief understanding, Meng Lei decided to find out more useful information. The most straightforward method was to ask this existential plane's natives. Meng Lei's divine cognition spread across millions of kilometers as every detail within this area was shown clearly in his mind. That's weird. Why are there only boundless great beasts here? Meng Lei frowned. Never mind. I'll just get my information from them. Meng Lei teleported above the nearest group of boundless great beasts with a thought. The boundless great beast was the name given by Dark Hell continent's experts to the wild beasts in this world. They had the same nature as the beasts from other existential planes. What appeared before Meng Lei was an ox-type beast. It floated at 100,000 feet with 6 legs and 9 horns. There were around 100 of them. The numbers were small, but they were all powerful creatures. The weakest ones were at the great demon lord level, while the best was a demon god. A bunch of ox-type beasts is already this strong, as expected from the boundless plane, Meng Lei commented. He then caught the strongest one from the bunch and prepared to read its memory. But just then, a dimensional gate appeared not too far away. A group of experts swarmed out of the gate. These were 100,000 feet tall firm muscles all over their bodies. Some were showered in lightning, some were bathed in fire. Titans? Meng Lei recognized them immediately when he saw them and sensed their aura. They were Titans, or to be exact, the Titan gods. This is the boundless plane? The air is so filthy. The magic elements here are too poor. And the laws of nature, so indistinct. Obviously, it was their first time at the boundless plane as they sized up the boundless plane with contemptuous critical comments. A Titan shrouded in purple lightning at the front chastised. Stop complaining and think of getting more details of this existential plane. Yes, Elder Greg. The rest of the Titans replied as they looked around. It only took a few moments for them to notice Meng Lei not far away. There's someone here. Perhaps he's a native from the boundless plane? We'll surely find out something useful from this guy. Eric, bring him over. Remember, don't kill him by accident. Yes, Elder Greg. A Titan shrouded in flames answered and flew toward Meng Lei. Little fellow, come with me. Without another word, the Titan called Eric grabbed toward Meng Lei as if he was catching a chick. 1. Annotation text missing. Chapter 348 The Sky Titans. I'll fight the 100 of you. His action badly frightened the 100 wild oxen and sent them into a panic. They raced into the distance as though they had gone mad, causing the ground to shake and dust to swirl about everywhere. I've been looked down upon again, lamented Meng Lei with a slight shake of his head. He evaded Eric's enormous hand with a flash of his form and said, My friend, what's the meaning of coming to blows the moment you have a disagreement with someone else? He actually dodged it. Eric, the fire titan, was a little taken aback. A hint of ire came over his features right away, and he shouted, "Lowly native, die!" 8 fire dragons rose into the air around him and lunged at Meng Lei with their claws brandished and their fangs bared. Then, they came together to form a prison of flames that trapped Meng Lei within. "Come over here!" Eric snorted and grabbed the prison of flames, together with Meng Lei inside, over to himself with a casual swipe. He warned, "You'd better behave or else." Meng Lei broke into a slight frown and asked, "Who exactly are you guys? Why are you capturing me?" Eric didn't pay Meng Lei any heed. Instead, he flew toward the other titans with the prison of flames in tow. As though they were looking at a cheap and lowly ant, looks of aloofness, contempt, and high in mightiness adorned the titans' faces as they gazed upon Meng Lei. "Answer my questions," Greg said aloofly. "If you dare utter so much as a lie, I'll make you wish you were dead. The first question, what is this place?" "I don't know," answered Meng Lei. "You don't?" Greg broke into a frown and said coldly, "Aren't you a native of this world? How could you possibly not even know what this place is?" "Who said I'm a native?" Meng Lei rolled his eyes and said, "All right, you've asked your question. It's my turn to ask mine now. Listen up. If you dare utter so much as a lie, I'll kill all of you right away." The titans stared at Meng Lei in astonishment. They hadn't expected a native to actually have the nerve to talk to them like that. That guy was too full of himself. Meng Lei didn't bother himself with what the titans thought at all. He asked, "Tell me, where are all of you from?" "You worm, you're courting death." Greg's countenance turned icy cold at once, and a surge of pressure weighed down upon Meng Lei right away. The wave of pressure was exceedingly powerful, so much so that even most typical great demon gods would find it hard to bear. However, it was as if it were non-existent to Meng Lei. "How dare a mere high-level sky titan behave so audaciously in my presence? Who gave you the guts to do so?" Meng Lei let out an icy snort, upon which an even more violent force crushed down upon Greg. Boom! A huge jolt went through Greg, and a shrewd glint shone in his eyes as he exclaimed, "You're a high-level sky titan." "What? He's a high-level sky titan?" His exclamation raised a great furor among the titans. Greg's words were tantamount to a hydrogen bomb going off with a thunderous boom in the titans' minds, causing loud droning in their minds as the blood drained from their faces. The contempt, aloofness, and high in mightiness in their eyes disappeared in a split second. They were replaced with disbelief and a deep sense of fear and reverence. High-level sky titans were absolute powerhouses even in the Thunderbolt divine realm, where experts were aplenty. They couldn't not respect and revere them. "I've surprisingly made a lapse in my judgment." Greg had an overcast and sinister look on his countenance. His eyes bore into Meng Lei for a moment before he finally said, "Let's go." Greg was a high-level sky titan himself. However, he didn't have the confidence to beat Meng Lei in a fight. Rather than coming to blows with Meng Lei only to gain nothing in the end, he might as well just leave at this point. Exploring the boundless plane at the fastest speed possible was what he should be doing at this moment instead. Therefore, he made the prompt decision to leave. "Go? Did I allow you to?" Meng Lei said dispassionately. "What do you want, mister?" Greg gazed coldly at Meng Lei. "You may leave, but not before answering my question," said Meng Lei. "You may leave once you've answered it." "Surely you don't think we're afraid of you, mister?" Greg's voice was deep and low as he threatened. "I'd advise you not to make any trouble. Otherwise, the consequences are beyond what you can bear." "Ha!" Meng Lei let out a peal of laughter. Then he abruptly appeared right in front of Greg and threw out a punch. Boom! Unable to react in time, Greg took Meng Lei's blow right on the chest. As a crisp snap rang out, Greg's chest also sank inward right away. One couldn't even tell how many ribs he'd broken. Ugh! Blood spurted from Greg's mouth. A look of alarm and anger came over his countenance at once. What alarmed him was the fact that Meng Lei actually possessed such strength, while what angered him was naturally the fact that Meng Lei had actually dared to attack him. He was an elder from the Theodore Titan gods of the Thunderbolt divine realm. Just how revered was his position? "Elder Greg, "Are you all right, Elder?" The other Titans were greatly alarmed. A difference in strength lies even among high-level great demon gods. Meng Lei blew the non-existent dust off his fist and said, "And I can beat 100 high-level great demon gods like you. You bastard." Greg gnashed his teeth in a fury. However, Meng Lei's strength had certainly astounded him. For Meng Lei to crush his ribs with a single punch, it meant that his physical strength surpassed his own. However, what filled him with shock and horror the most was that he hadn't even seen how Meng Lei had appeared before him. "Can you answer my question now?" asked Meng Lei calmly. Greg took a deep breath as he suppressed his fury and compromised. "Go ahead and ask. Forget it. Asking questions is too troublesome. I'll just search your soul instead," said Meng Lei with a shake of his head. He couldn't be bothered to ask anymore. Search his soul? Greg's expression changed dramatically upon hearing what he said. He shouted hoarsely, "Mister, I'm Greg Theodore, an elder of the Theodore Titan gods from the Thunderbolt Divine Realm. Are you certain you want to go against us so utterly?" "The Theodore Titan gods from the Thunderbolt Divine Realm?" Meng Lei chuckled. "What the heck is that?" "Sorry, but I've never heard of them." "You bastard!" Greg gnashed his teeth in a fury. Since he had already decided to kill them, Meng Lei naturally didn't hold back. Mysterious ice of the depths burst forth as he teleported in front of Greg. Crack! Greg, a high-level great demon god, was frozen where he was in an instant. He turned into a glittering golden ice sculpture and became still and motionless. "It's just the rest of you now." Meng Lei turned to the other Titans. "Damn it! Run!" Scared witless, the Titans immediately turned into a dozen or so streaks of light that fled into the distance without any hesitation whatsoever, wishing they had been born with an extra pair of legs. That's nothing more than just futile struggling. God's domain spread into the surroundings, instantly enveloping the whole area 10,000 miles of where they were. All the Titans were mid-level Sky Titans, and they moved at incredibly high speed. However, no matter how fast they moved, they would never reach the speed at which God's domain spread. All of them were trapped where they were in an instant. They couldn't move even though they wanted to and couldn't escape even though they wanted to. They couldn't even bat an eyelid. Snap! The Titans' heads suddenly exploded with a light snap of Meng Lei's fingers. Brain fluids shot out, and bits of flesh splattered everywhere as several divine cores flew over to Meng Lei. "You devil! How dare you kill us? The Theodore Titan gods will never let you off. You can just wait for their frenzied revenge to befall upon you." The Titans' roars of fury and hatred rang out from within the divine cores. They practically couldn't get any more King unlucky. Having been sent to the Boundless plane to carry out a mission, they had initially thought that they would be able to show their skill and shine and return with a bountiful haul this time. Who would have thought that they would all be wiped out right after they had passed through the dimensional channel? This was practically enough to drive one mad. Revenge? I'm ready for it any time. Meng Lei let out a peal of laughter. Then, he opened his Grim Reaper's eye and destroyed all the divine spirits in the divine cores. It was Greg's turn after that. Many fearsome forces existed in the Thunderbolt Divine Realm. The Theodore Titan gods were exactly one of them. As one of the most powerful forces in the Thunderbolt Divine Realm, the Theodore Titan gods were extremely influential. There were innumerable Sky Titans in the clan, and only high-level ones qualified to become clan elders. There were a total of 127 elders in the Theodore Titan god clan. Apart from them, they also had a Great Perfection Expert as well as a Chief God among their ranks. A Great Perfection Expert was one that had fused 5 types of laws of nature into one, while a Chief God was a supreme god among the gods. One could easily imagine just how fearsome the Theodore Titan gods were. The foundation that these juggernauts that have been in existence for countless years have built up is simply too solid. Meng Lei lamented. "I'd better stay away from the Thunderbolt Divine Realm before I gain enough power to contend with a chief god. It's too dangerous there. While you're right in not underestimating your enemy, you needn't put yourself down." A smiling Dodola comforted him and said, "You're already a huge monster for possessing power that's great enough to kill a higher deity at such a young age. Besides, I believe you'll become capable of contending with a great perfection expert in no more than another few days' time. Do you really have that much confidence in me? Meng Lei raised an eyebrow. Of course. Dodola was full of confidence. Haha, you're mistaken. A laughing Meng Lei said, I don't even need a few days' time to do that. As long as I'm willing, I can attain strength that allows me to contend with a great perfection expert anytime I want. Taken aback, Dodola asked, Are you really that impressive? What do you think? Meng Lei gave Dodola a smug smile. Then, he went behind the dimensional gate and hid. According to Greg's memories, apart from them, other forces from the Thunderbolt Divine Realm would also be making their way to the Boundless Plane. For example, the Haber Colossal Dragon Gods, the Kurud Frost Gods, the Gabriel Angel Gods, all those godly clans had also dispatched men over. Unlike the 36 slots that Dark Hell Continent had, the Thunderbolt Divine Realm had as many as tens of thousands of slots. This meant that there would be large groups of experts arriving from the Thunderbolt Divine Realm. Experts? In Meng Lei's eyes, all of them were his prey instead. A mid-level higher deity was worth 60 million divinity crystals, while a high-level higher deity was worth 900 million divinity crystals. Meng Lei did his math. As long as he could kill all those experts from the Thunderbolt Divine Realm, he would gain enough divinity crystals to strengthen himself. Not only would he be able to enhance his divine body and his divine spirit, but he would also be able to enhance his many bloodlines. From this, one could tell just how big a sum of money he would receive. One must know that bloodline enhancement alone would already require a huge sum of money. For example, enhancing the god-slaying rat bloodline into an ancient god bloodline would cost him 10 billion divinity crystals. Enhancing the divine netherworld phoenix bloodline into an ancient god bloodline would also cost him 10 billion divinity crystals, while enhancing the 100-armed giant bloodline into an ancient god bloodline would cost him another 10 billion divinity crystals. Similarly, enhancing the frost god's bloodline into an ancient god bloodline required 10 billion divinity crystals, as did enhancing the Grim Reaper bloodline into an ancient god bloodline. On top of those, he also had another two ancient god bloodlines, the primordial human and the ancient tree of life bloodlines. Boosting their assimilation rates to 100% would also cost him more than 10 billion divinity crystals. While it seemed like he would need a ton of money to enhance them all, in actuality, he needed only to wipe out the many experts from the Thunderbolt Divine Realm, and all his problems would be easily solved. As long as I can kill them, my combat strength shall undergo a tremendous change. Meng Lei's eyes shone brightly. And when that happens, even a great perfection expert would be nothing to me. I can smash them into a pulp with just a smack of my palm. Whoosh! Meng Lei didn't wait in vain. People rushed out of the dimensional gate after just a short while. Upon taking a closer look, however, Meng Lei couldn't help but become slightly taken aback. They are all goddesses? There were only about 20 newcomers, but every one of them was charmingly graceful and possessed peerless beauty. They were either hot and burning with passion, elegant and tranquil, dignified and steady, lively and quick-witted, or valiant and heroic. The air around each of them was entirely different, but every one of them was a beauty that could fall even kingdoms and cities. What astonished Meng Lei even further was an elegant and tranquil green-haired goddess among them, the fairy goddess. That goddess was none other than the fairy goddess whom the Heavens Vault continent fairies worshipped. What the heck? Even the fairy goddess has come. Meng Lei was rather dumbstruck. Tisk, TSK. You sure are in luck, kid. Dodola snickered and said, They are goddesses from the Nature Gods clan, and every one of them is a peerless beauty. You'll graduate from bachelorhood if you can hook up with any of them. Graduate my ass. Meng Lei rolled his eyes. This is a great opportunity for you to graduate from bachelorhood. Kid. Dodola was highly dissatisfied with Meng Lei's attitude, so it chastised him. Which among the many goddesses of the nature gods isn't a target of admiration and desire among the gods of the void? Yet a kid like you is so indifferent toward them. Meng Lei was rendered speechless. He said, How many times have I told you that I'm a man with a wife and a child? What kind of bachelorhood am I supposed to graduate from? TCH, a bachelor who's forever alone. Dodola stuck its middle finger at Meng Lei. Although Meng Lei didn't harbor any illicit thoughts, one had to admit that the goddesses were indeed very beautiful. Moreover, the air around them differed from goddess to goddess, and they oozed great allure. So, this is the so-called Boundless plane? As expected, the magic elements and laws of nature here are far inferior to the Thunderbolt divine realms. Lava goddess, which direction should we go in? The dimensional gate opens in different locations each time, so I don't know which region we're currently in, either. Let's just walk around and decide again later. Let's go, then. The 20-odd goddesses decided their next course of action in no time. They were just about to set off after they picked a random direction to go in when another group of people rushed out of the dimensional gate. Each of them had a pair of horns on their heads and gave off majestic dragon might. It was evident that they were colossal dragons. In particular, Meng Lei's eyes even lit up at the sight of a familiar face among them. It was Ambrose. Tisk tsk. Even Ambrose has made his way here. Things are going to be fun now. Goddesses, please wait a moment. Ambrose called out to the goddesses. Mr. Ambrose, is something the matter? The goddesses turned around and gazed at Ambrose and the other dragons in puzzlement. Goddesses, the Boundless plane is a fairly dangerous place. Why don't we move around together instead? Ambrose stated his purpose as he looked at the goddesses. In particular, admiration and desire even filled his eyes when his gaze fell upon the fairy goddess. The fairy goddess, the owner of a wood-origin divine body, was an outstanding existence among the nature gods' younger generation. On top of that, she had also been selected as a target of priority grooming by the natural goddesses system, thereby making her someone with an extremely promising future. Coupled with her elegant and tranquil demeanor and her peerless beauty, she had become the target of love and admiration of many deities in the Thunderbolt divine realm and even the Void. It was rumored that quite a few chief gods lusted after her beauty and wished to bring her into their bedrooms and make her one of their divine consorts. Ambrose was exactly one of the millions of deities that secretly admired the fairy goddess. Move around together? It's not necessary. The lava goddess, who boasted a sensual figure, firmly rejected his invitation. Our purpose in coming to the Boundless plane this time is just to complete a small mission. We can easily get it done ourselves. The lava goddess was the nature god's team leader this time and also the only goddess among them that had already fused 4 basic types of laws of nature. She was someone that possessed fearsome strength and a revered position. Thus, the other goddesses naturally wouldn't oppose her decision. Besides, none of them was willing to move around together with the colossal dragon gods either. Those fellows were too lustful. It would be more dangerous moving around together with them instead. What a real shame that is. Ambrose, who looked utterly disappointed, forced a smile and said, "In that case, I wish the goddesses success in perfectly completing your mission. Thanks." After giving a word of thanks, the lava goddess got ready to leave with the rest of the goddesses. However, the fairy goddess was staring hard in a certain direction with a look of puzzlement. "What's the matter, Diana?" asked the puzzled lava goddess. "There's someone over there." The fairy goddess pointed at the sky behind the dimensional gate. "There's someone over there?" The lava goddess raised an eyebrow. However, before she could say anything, Ambrose had already shouted, "Who's skulking around and hiding over there? Get the hell out here." He threw a punch as he spoke, causing the dimension to break and revealing someone's form. "It's you. It's you. You. Ambrose and the fairy goddess simultaneously let out an exclamation, and a look of surprise flashed across their eyes. Neither of them had expected Meng Lei to show up here. However, their expressions became completely different the next moment. Ambrose's countenance became incredibly savage as he burst into unrestrained laughter. "I searched far and wide to no avail, only to obtain it so effortlessly in the end. What a surprise! Who would have thought that I would actually run into you here? Even the heavens are on my side." The puzzled fairy goddess asked, "Elder Ambrose, do the two of you know each other?" "Know each other? It doesn't stop at just that." Ambrose let out a sinister laugh and said, "That kid once destroyed my alternate incarnation, robbed me of my wealth, and searched my divine spirit in the past by leveraging on his status as the master of the existential plane. There's a death feud between the two of us. I swear I'll never give up until I kill him. The expression on the beautiful fairy goddess countenance changed slightly as she said, "Surely not, Elder Ambrose? He's probably just an intermediate deity. How could he have possibly destroyed your alternate incarnation?" The fairy goddess hadn't paid any more attention to Heaven's Vault continent giving the heart of the existential plane to Meng Lei, so she wasn't aware of anything that happened thereafter. Thus, she naturally had no way of knowing about the battle that had taken place between Meng Lei and Ambrose. But as far as the fairy goddess knew, Meng Lei was indeed just an intermediate deity. An intermediate deity? That kid suddenly broke through to become a higher deity in the midst of our battle. It was only because of that and the fact that he's the master of the existential plane that I lost the fight. Ambrose gnashed his teeth in fury as he said, "I swore to the heavens then that I'll definitely rip him into a million pieces someday to vent my anger. However, I also knew that I wouldn't be able to do anything about him if he chose to keep hiding in his existential plane. Never would I have ever expected myself to actually run into him here. It looks like even the heavens are helping me out." Ambrose looked at Meng Lei with undisguised delight and excitement in his eyes at this point. Obviously, he thought of Meng Lei as prey that was already within his grasp and an ant that he could squash dead anytime he wanted. "Are you full of desperation, kid? Full of fear? Full of frustrations? Full of regret at what you did once upon a time?" Ambrose said with a sinister laugh, "It's just a shame that it's too late. There's never been any cure for regrets in this world. Men, take him down." The fairy goddess hastily interrupted and said, "Elder Ambrose, he's my friend. Let's talk things out instead." "Your friend?" Ambrose was taken aback for a moment. He hadn't expected Meng Lei to actually be the fairy goddess' friend. However, he was determined to kill Meng Lei. It was useless no matter who it was that pleaded for mercy on his behalf. "Ms. Diana, I have a death feud with that piece of cheap trash. I have to kill him no matter what. Don't speak up for him anymore. He's not worth your time and effort."
Ambrose brooked no refusal.
Even though he held feelings of admiration for the fairy goddess, compared to killing Meng Lei, those feelings didn't count as much. Besides, the Tower of Time was even still in Meng Lei's hands. Elder Ambrose. Nevertheless, the fairy goddess continued to try to intercede for Meng Lei. Next to her, the lava goddess broke into a frown and said, "Diana, you've been cultivating in the clan's sanctum the whole time all these years. How did you become friends with him? There's no need for you to intercede for him any further if he's just a mere acquaintance." "That's right, Diana. There's no need to offend Elder Ambrose for the sake of an acquaintance." The other goddesses also spoke up and tried to dissuade the fairy goddess. After all, Ambrose was an elder of the Colossal Dragon gods and didn't hold just any ordinary status. "I appreciate your kindness, your holiness." Meng Lei also spoke up at this point. He said, "It's all right. You don't have to intercede on my behalf anymore. That old lizard doesn't amount to much in my eyes." The fairy goddess was slightly taken aback by his words, whereas a hint of distaste flashed across the rest of the goddess's eyes. Ambrose didn't amount to much in his eyes? Who did he think he was? "Ha ha ha. You're really an egotistical and cheap piece of trash. Indeed, to think you're still being so stubborn even in the face of death. But it's all right. Your stubbornness is exactly what I like. The more stubborn you are, the better it is." Ambrose guffawed and said, "Your haughtiness had enraged me in the past, making me wish I could rip you into a million pieces, but it pleases me greatly instead now. It's just like watching a grasshopper that's hopping joyfully and jumping energetically in my palm. Yet little does it know that I can squash it dead anytime I want. Ha ha. This feeling is simply too wonderful. What a dumbass." Meng Lei shook his head. Then he said, "Since you're asking for a fight, then hurry up and get to it. I'm in a rush." "In a rush? So that you can reincarnate." A sinister smile appeared on Ambrose's countenance, and he ordered, "Men, take him down." "Yes, Elder." A youth with black horns on his head responded loudly before lunging right at Meng Lei. He was a colossal dragon of darkness and was a mid-level higher deity. Sigh! The fairy goddess didn't say any more. She knew that Meng Lei was finished. He wouldn't have any chance of survival after he fell into Elder Ambrose's clutches. What a shame! A genius who owns a metal-origin divine body is going to perish soon. You cheap trash! How dare you offend Elder Ambrose? You really have a death wish, don't you? The colossal dragon of darkness youth snorted. He didn't think much of Meng Lei at all. He was a colossal dragon of darkness at the mid-level higher deity stage. Someone who had only just broken through to become a higher deity a few days ago was nothing in his eyes. Ha! Meng Lei neither ducked nor evaded. Instead, he allowed the dragon youth to grab at him. Just as the dragon youth's right claw was about to land on his shoulder, Meng Lei gave a slight shrug. Boom! A forceful wave of energy burst forth from him. As a loud crack rang out, the dragon youth's right claw, together with the rest of his right arm, turned into a bloody pulp, causing bits of flesh to fly about. Ah! The dragon youth let out a shrill scream. D! Meng Lei smacked his palm down. Bam! As though a hammer had struck a watermelon, the dragon youth's head was blasted apart with a great boom. Smashed brains splattered into the surroundings, turning the scene incredibly bloody. What? A huge jolt went through everyone at the sight. They couldn't believe their eyes. A colossal dragon of darkness at the mid-level higher deity stage had just had his head blasted apart? How could this be? Of course, the most astounded ones were none other than those that were the most familiar with Meng Lei, Ambrose and the fairy goddess themselves. Denton's combat strength among those of the younger generation might only be mediocre, but no matter what, he's still a mid-level colossal dragon king. Yet that guy has actually killed him just like that. Ambrose was flabbergasted. How long has it only been since that cheap piece of trash had broken through to become a higher deity? Yet he can already kill Denton? How did he manage to do that? He's actually... The fairy goddess clapped her hand over her mouth. Astoundment filled her beautiful eyes. Wasn't Meng Lei an intermediate deity? Why was he so strong now? Mr. Ambrose, are you sure he's only just broken through to become a higher deity? Asked the frowning lava goddess, who was sporting a look of disbelief and incredulity on her countenance. Ambrose didn't answer her. Instead, his eyes bore into Meng Lei as he said, Little did I think that you'd have gotten stronger again during this brief separation. I've surprisingly underestimated you. But do you really think you can escape death today? That's nothing but just a daydream. I will kill you with my own hands and rip you into a million pieces and make you pay a heavy price for your foolishness and ignorance. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed. Meng Lei gave him a non-committal smile as he said, Because I don't plan on letting you off, either. Don't worry. I won't kill you right away. I'll wipe them out first and then let you die amid your fear and fury. D. Ambrose charged brazenly toward Meng Lei. Whoosh! He moved extremely quickly. A phantom-like image flashed by, and he had already charged right up to Meng Lei. His fist that carried fierce and vast force blasted right at Meng Lei with overwhelming momentum. Whoosh! Meng Lei bizarrely vanished from where he was, easily evading Ambrose's full-powered punch. He subsequently appeared behind one of the colossal dragons and lightly tapped him on the shoulder. Who's there? This was a green dragon who was currently closely watching the battle taking place in front of him. Before he could even react, Meng Lei's fist had already smashed down upon him. Boom! His head broke apart and smashed brains spurted. The second one. Meng Lei turned to the remaining colossal dragons there. Damn it! Oh, Dragon Grandmaster above. He's over here. He's killed Dampier. The colossal dragons were thrown into a huge panic. Ambrose was fuming mad. Not only had he not managed to kill Meng Lei, but he had even allowed him to kill Dampier. How hateful. D. On the verge of becoming hysterical, Ambrose roared again and again. God's domain, imprison. God's domain spread into the surroundings, locking down the whole area 10,000 miles of where they were. Yet despite that, it couldn't imprison Meng Lei at all, and he showed up behind another colossal dragon. Bam! His head broke apart, and smashed brains spurted. The third one now. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Ambrose was close to being sent over the edge, but it didn't do anything to help the situation at all. He couldn't catch Meng Lei at all. Bam! The fourth one. Bam! The fifth one. Just like that, Meng Lei moved about like a phantom, sending a colossal dragon on its way and reaping its life every time he appeared. The remaining colossal dragons were so frightened that they took off at once, but to no avail. No matter how quickly they ran, they would never be as fast as Meng Lei's teleportation. On top of that, the further they ran, the harder it was for Ambrose to protect them. A span of about a dozen or so breaths later, Meng Lei had killed all 20-odd colossal dragons, leaving behind only the battle-crazed Ambrose and the dumbfounded goddesses. That guy, he's practically nuts. He's actually killed all 27 colossal dragons. A lunatic. He's a total lunatic. Ambrose will never let him off. The Haber colossal dragon gods will never let him off either. He's finished. Moving about elusively like a phantom. That's teleportation? Oh, nature goddess above. Someone has actually mastered that special ability. The goddesses were utterly stunned. It wasn't so much that they hadn't seen powerful experts before, but they honestly hadn't seen anyone that dared to kill the Haber colossal dragon gods without any restraint. What he was doing was no different from making enemies with the entire Haber colossal dragon god clan. I've raked in more profits. Meng Lei was elated at his newly gained profits of almost 1.5 billion divinity crystals. He then reappeared in front of Ambrose. The current Ambrose was as though a gambler who had lost everything he had, right down to even his underwear. His eyes were blood red, and he was hysterical. He had totally lost it. You should die. When Ambrose, with his repressed immense fury and hatred, saw Meng Lei showing up in front of him, he lunged straight at him without any hesitation at all. Nice! This time, Meng Lei didn't teleport away. Instead, he threw a punch at him. Boom! Raging impact waves blasted the surroundings as their fists clashed against each other. The dimension within 10 million kilometers of where they were instantly broke and became a black hole. Ambrose and Meng Lei, who were both in the middle of the black hole, each retreated a few steps simultaneously. A draw! A huge jolt went through the goddesses at the sight. In spite of how Meng Lei had slaughtered the colossal dragon youths and exhibited his fearsome strength just now, none of them had expected him to actually possess strength capable of contending with Ambrose. When did you become this strong? Ambrose regained some clarity of mind upon feeling the ache and numbness coming from his right arm. He couldn't help but stare at Meng Lei with a look of alarm and fury. Is this already what you call powerful? We haven't even gotten started yet, replied Meng Lei with a derisive scoff of laughter.